Alright, today we're going to be looking at the Shadow. I got the alarm system mostly in. It's got to do the door trigger, run a siren, for the alarm system. I noticed I wear this type of shirts a lot. I guarantee it's not the same shirt. I just like custom zinc clothing. They got really great shirts and saying this one says, you're going to see the camera now, but no, I just wear these a lot. I wear black, so it's all good. But today we're going to get looking at the Shadow. I'll see how much of it I can film. I'm not sure how much I can film, so let's get into it.
Let's go off when I enter the building.
I'm not sure how much of me you're going to see with this, and it's kind of hard to film an alarm system, but for the Shadow I've got a Code Alarm CA1554. These cars are really simple to wire in. It's not like my other GM products where I got to go through security bypasses for remote starts and stuff like that. Since I added my own power door locks and my power windows and everything, the door locks are going to be really easy. I just got to tap into the relay harness that I made in the back for the door locks. But the thing I needed to find out was the door trigger wire, which is in the kick panel. It's a yellow wire. But some of the things you're going to need for sure for when doing an alarm, obviously tools to take apart. Any part of your dash you need to take apart. Preference of wiring, if you do butt connectors, if you solder and shrink tube. Most people don't like the way that I wire. If it's not proper, that's fine, whatever. I've never had an issue at all, and I've had lots of cars and never had an issue with my wiring. A lot of the factory wiring I've had issues with and had to replace, but I use the twist knot technique with electrical tape. Good electrical tape. This is the Scotch 33 Plus, Super 33 Plus, or you can use the Scotch 88. Either way is good. I just like this because it's not as thick as the 88. And also, if you're worried about it coming undone, you can take a little bit of heat, hair dryer, heat gun, whatever, when you get this on there, and it just melts it right together really well, but not enough to damage anything like if you used a lighter or something like that. So it almost acts like shrink tubing, but yeah, this electrical tape's the best. Yeah, I'm going to find the door trigger wire using an actual decent multimeter. Now you don't really need a decent multimeter for this type of job. I mean, you can just, as long as it does 12 volts, you can figure out really figure out if it's grounding or not, but it's supposed to be a negative trigger. So what you got to do is find a positive source, use one of the relay packs in the back, and then probe it with the negative and see if it gives you when the door's open, door's shut, whatever. So I'm probably have to go around and hit the buttons to make sure it all works. So I'm going to have to close some of these doors and all that to make sure that it works. But I'll film some of it, probably edit some stuff out because you're not going to be able to see much when I'm doing all the testing, but you'll be able to see what's going on with it. So let's go. Alright, so here's an example of the door trigger wire. It's a negative, it's a yellow in the kick panel on the Shadow. But as you can tell, that's at basically zero right now. When you open the door and the dome light comes on, it reads 12 volts. So you got to tap into that for the negative door trigger. When you shut it, it turns off. That's what's going to trigger your alarm if the door is open. So that's where you want to tap into for the sensing of the wire. And then that will give you your trigger alarm for when the dome light comes on or doors are open. So if someone breaks in, opens your door, alarm will go off if the shock sensor doesn't work. Alright guys, I'm going to get back into here. I'm going to tap into that wire. And then I got to take this thing here. This is the shock sensor. It comes with the alarm. Real simple. It's got like a little rubber, I'll call it rubber band, but it's a little anchor in there with a magnet. As it gets closer to something or feel it move, it'll set it off. There is an adjuster on it right there. If it is too sensitive, you can back it off. If it's not sensitive enough, you can put it back in. It does have lights to indicate what's going on with it. I like to mount these as much to the center of the car as possible so their shock is more evenly dispersed. Passenger, driver, the only thing that's really probably not going to help too much is the hatch or your trunk. But you can actually put sensors on the trunk and all that. If you have a light back there, you can use a dome light trigger for the trunk. That might help out a little bit, but it all goes by basically your car, whatever you want to do with your car. Just look up wiring diagrams is what I do. Go online, look up wiring, get a general idea of what color wire does what on the cars. Like I said, factories change shit, so it could be an idea to get a diagram where it tells you where the wires, like actually gives you a wire diagram, tells you what pin the wire is at in case the factory decided to change a color. And for the sensor, it does matter which plug. One plug, no fit. The other plug does fit. So I'm going to go ahead and run all of that and come back and let you know how it goes. Alright, now I'm going to test the trigger wire to see if it works. I don't have the sign hooked up, so I'm not going to piss off the neighbors. So if you can see, the light flashes when it's unlocked. When it's locked, it flashes twice. So when this alarm goes off, it should flash the parking light, so we'll see. As you can tell, it's working. At the same time, I don't know if you can see this or not on the camera, but I don't know if it's going to focus or not, but it'll tell me that it's going off, making noise. It'll tell me the doors, what set it off. So this alarm's pretty awesome. So it tells me that every time I unlock it, it'll tell me the door went off until you get in the car and start it. Now that's what you need to do for the signal wire. There's a signal wire for it that tells the car is running. That's how you reset the alarm. Make sure that's plugged into a remote turn-on source. Like you can even plug into the radio or an ignition wire, whatever is easiest for you. But so that part works. Now I get the shock sensor mounted. All right. Now for the shock sensor, I'm gonna try and put it under there somewhere. If you can see it or not, but under there. Try and mount it somewhere under there. Probably just use some two-way tape on here. Just kind of get stuck. Basically, it's going to see how long I can pull this wire through. If I can't get to the center, I'll get as close as I can to it. And then basically, it's all this extra wire you don't need. I like to trim it up and tape it up. The other wire I might keep is there's a brown wire in here that does a remote trunk release. So if I put a solenoid on the hatch, I might be able to remote release the trunk on it, but I'm just going to cut the wires I don't need. I always leave a little bit of wire just in case you want to put this alarm in a different car and it uses one of these options or needs one of these options. You can still use it, add your own wire, but it kind of gives it more of a clean install. Then tuck it up under the dash, and that's pretty much it. So that's basically the alarm install for a Shadow. It's easy. There's like no security systems or nothing you have to go past. Like I said, I added my own door locks and everything, so that was easy too. I didn't have to find any wires, knew where they all are. I think the hardest part of this alarm install is going to be hiding the wires. I don't like to see wires anywhere, so zip ties, electrical tape, whatever I can use to hide all this to get it out of the way. I'll come back after I got everything installed and everything's hidden away and show you what it looks like after. Okay, as promised, here's the wiring. It's all tucked under the dash. Ran under zip ties, so I gotta do a few more things, but there's one there. Everything's underneath the back of the dash. Come over here. See, I like to electrical tape all the harnesses I add, or Tessa tape either way, and fasten them up, zip ties, whatever you got, make them clean. The only thing I didn't clean up was this mess here. These are my windows, and my door locks are going to be in the center console. Going to make a plate for that and put that in here, but that is essentially the alarm. And get out, and we have the siren on it now, so it does work. Alright, once again, thanks guys for watching. Any questions, anything like that, let me know, and I'll see you soon. Talk to you guys later.
Alarms go off when I enter the building.